Hola, and welcome to Word to Your Mama. Word to Your Mama is a podcast about the life of a Latina creative, that's me, and the lives of my amazing multicultural tribe. A celebration of shared experiences navigating this dynamic world. There will be special guests, mad laughs, and absolutely no BS. Segments by the Supernatural Bear. That's my little man. He's 10 going on 40 because he's an old soul. But other than that, this podcast will be explicit. Please believe it. Now, why do I have a wide range of peeps on here? It's because I come from the music, art, and Web3 industries. Word to Your Mama comes out every Monday. This is episode 133, and today we have Isaac Chaco Ruelas. Chaco for the short. So we recorded this in April, and we were coming off of the heels of their 35th born day. They share with us how it was being or is being a first-gen Latinx gender non-binary artist born and raised in Los Angeles. We also go into how their artwork was the first NFT that I ever purchased in life off of the Tezos chain when we met a little bit over a year and a half ago now probably. And then we get into their journey on how they got under that concept of being raised to be a worker, right? To continue to elevate, but to continue on that road of stability and working, and how they were able to incorporate dreaming bigger than that and becoming different from that, if that makes sense. We talk about being first gen, navigating these spaces and becoming the bridges, right? Being the remixes as we get into that. So this episode was recorded in April, like I mentioned, and because there's a lot of work going on with Word to Your Mama on the back end, where we moved to a new platform, right? So that's why I took this long to release it, and it just happens to be June. Like, that was just a happy coincidence. So yes, let's get into this. And don't forget, after this is the Supernatural Bear Corner. So it might be a ditty, might be some words of wisdom from a 10-year-old going on 40. And then we got the outro. So let's get into it.
Chaco's good.
Today.
Yeah.
I love that. Good, because that's how I know you. Chaco, muchísimas gracias for being here. There's a long time coming. We were supposed to do this in 2022. But you know what? We're doing it when it's supposed to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is the right time. So, ¿cómo estás? How have you been?
Oh man, I've been good, and this is kind of like definitely been a year of transition, and I just turned 35, and like my
What?
numbers are 3, 5, and 8, so 35 is definitely um kind of like a big year, and I've been feeling it. So lots of transition, but lots of good things happening, and I'm excited, and also it's like scary, doing
Yeah.
new things.
Well, first and foremost, Feliz Born Day.
Thank you.
Now that it's happened, 35, that's nothing to, especially, being a person of color and, making it this far. And not only are you surviving, you're thriving as far as I could see. We haven't seen each other in almost a year now, right? Because it's going to be like the anniversary. But yeah, Feliz Born Day. And transitions are, if it's worth it, it might be hard and scary. Like, do it scared is something that we've been talking about recently. And it's just like, because you don't know, it's the unknown, right? But I think that's a sign that it's something of worth, right? Like, transition is happening, good or bad, that the outcome is going to be good. So, Chaco, you're out and about now. If someone comes up to you, or someone's introduced to you or whatever at an event, and they say, what do you do? ¿Qué dices?
Oh man, I usually go, I do. It depends the context.
Sí.
In terms of like the art world, I'm an artist. I do photography, I do painting, I write music, and also I curate shows. I think most people kind of know me as a curator, and
Mm,
so that's what I would say in that kind of space. And then if I'm more in kind of like a neutralish space, I say I'm an artist in general. And
sí.
then I talk more about like the consulting work that I do around diversity, equity, and inclusion work. So it kind of depends. And if somebody has time, I tell them everything.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I just find it interesting because my tribe is pretty dope, and
Hmm.
the people that I have on here were all creatives of some sort, right? So I always find it interesting to see how we describe ourselves, because I think one of the many through lines in this podcast is the nonlinear career path, pero también is that we're all creative, but we don't just stick to one lane, right?
Hmm.
It's like we're multi hyphenate, da 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 da. Like you do so many things, you just run down a bunch of things. So I want to take it back to the beginning. Born and raised, tell us that.
Born and raised in Los Angeles, here specifically in Montebello, is where I was born, and then kind of quickly moved to El Monte, so San Gabriel
Mm,
Valley, and that's where um, all of like my mom's family lived. You know how there's like um, basically my grandma's house, right? And that's
sí.
where we all lived. And so as soon as I was born, which was like kind of like right after my parents got married, then they moved into the my grandma's house in El Monte, and then moved around a little bit, Baldwin Park, Covina, but always San Gabriel Valley, and now right now in Highland Park because I've always kind of wanted to be a little bit closer to downtown, and so excited to be um, in LA proper now.
So how being born and raised in LA, how does that impact your creative work? Whether it's curating your photography, your fashion, even your DEI work. Like how does that impact? How do you think that seeps through?
For me, it's interesting because artistically, like I want to tell the story of what's happening right now, and that's how I got into photography. Is like I want
Mm,
to have a body of work that expresses what's happening right now, like kind of post pandemic, and just wanting to capture as much of that as possible, especially in the art scene, because I think we're, at least from my vantage point, in a really beautiful place right now where
mm,
there's a lot of Latino artists, a lot of BIPOC artists, and we're sort of coming together to have these shows and to create community that's been super powerful. And I'm very grateful for all of those people that I'm getting to connect with. And then also in terms of curating the shows, like for me, I do want to be inclusive, so I invite all kinds of people to come in. And as a curator, I do focus on like who are um, the people here that are born and raised that need an opportunity, uh, because there's lots of transplants, and that's awesome.
sí.
That sometimes it feels like we're being pushed out and that like we don't belong here, and so it's really important to me that we have spaces where we're telling our stories. And then as a consultant, it's really interesting. My parents are immigrants. My mom's like a lunch lady. My dad cleans pools, and then they do pastoring, in like a little church, but not, it's all Spanish speaking immigrant church. And so I grew up, not so rich and in money, and
Mm,
I bring that into my DEI work in terms of like the struggles that I face as
mm,
a Latinx person, as a gender non-binary, um, offspring of immigrants, and just how it can feel like even my home is against me at times, or
Yeah.
doesn't want me to be here. And so bringing those types of narratives and realizations into that work as well, not to put down, of course, transplants or anything. That's not what I'm trying to do. And there's a lot of us here that are really struggling to stay here, and we want to stay at home. And so, bringing in those struggles, I think a lot of times,
Mm-hmm.
especially the kind of companies I work with, the bigger ones, don't always understand the struggles of people that are born and raised here, and they hire people from other places and they bring them in, like they pay for their moving, they help them do this, help them do that, and it's
Mm,
like, well, I know that a lot of us are born and raised here, and we still need that same type of support, even if um we're we're from here. You might think, okay, they're fine, or they have something figured out. And a lot of times, I mean, we don't have that much more figured out than other people. Um,
yeah.
so that's how I like to bring that story and my story into some of the work that I do. And you also mentioned the fashion stuff. So if what do I do? Right, that question. If I'm around like fashionistas or people that are into fashion, I do say, "Oh, I have a brand," and for me, that's a lot of that brand is capturing my experience here in LA. And
Mm-hmm.
that's a little bit different. Like, I did grow up in more of it's interesting, in a paisa environment, but like religious paisa environment. So even telling that story of like Latinos that grew up in a very, my parents are Mexican, so Mexican and religious household, which is different than like the Cholo narrative, or
See.
some of those more stereotypical narratives that we think about.
So the fact that you mentioned that, I wanted to see if we could touch on that a little bit. Coming from like a paisa, like a Mexican paisa, like religious home, you're 35, you're a whole nother generation, after me, but still we're in like, your first generation. It's a lot of levels of things dealing with as a a Latinx male in general. It like that's different from you, but I'm saying like a male in general that's a creative, that's a lot of levels of shit that you're gonna get from your family. You being non-binary adds extra levels. If you feel comfortable, it's up to you. How did you reconcile that? How did you say, you know what? I'm still going to move forward and be me and authentic y todo eso within this environment of multiple crazy levels of being Latinx?
Yeah, I mean, it's a journey, definitely, like an inner journey, to know and to accept ourselves. And for me, I mentioned that my numbers earlier are 3, 5, and 8.
Sí.
And so when I turned 30, and my birthday is on March 30th. So it's like
Mm.
330, and I'm born on 1988, so 33088. And um, when I turned 30, I just couldn't live this old life anymore. And um, I kind of was like, I need to step into a number of multiple identities, because in a way I had this idea that I was like, I always said before then, if I was an artist, like if I was an artist, I would do this.
Ah,
Like if I was an artist, then maybe I would, express myself a little differently. Like I would be, doing shows, going over here, networking. But because I had this really strong identity of being a worker, because that's sort of just like what the cultural messages send to me, and also
okay.
my family,
Mm-hmm.
like a trabajar. And when I was like, I want to be an artist, I want to be a freelance person. Anytime I mentioned it, it was just like, no, 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 you need a job. And so I had to break free of that identity that I'm a worker. And with
Yeah.
my parents, we've had we have ups and downs in our relationship around what they believe, what I believe, and we still try to find a way to get along and to be respectful. I heard I think it was Paul Rodriguez, the skateboarder.
Oh,
He
see.
has a I think a tattoo like of Jesus, and they asked him about it one time, and he said like Jesus is my gateway drug into spirituality. And so I try to have that, mentality so that I don't become antagonistic. Like my parents raising me to be a very spiritual person has had great benefits, and it's something that I still bring with me. It's just a different type of spirituality. And so trying to keep the conversation that way where we don't get into like the specific beliefs.
Yes.
um Specifically for me, like the belief in hell. I just think that when I broke free of that one specifically, it was like, oh my gosh, and so I want people to experience that sometimes, and I don't,
Yeah.
that can have like a negative impact. And so I try to, just let people have whatever spirituality they want to have. And if people want to know about mine, then, I share about that as well. And I found that that's a pretty good balance within my family structure.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing that, because I think it's very important when people listen to this, whether doesn't matter what age you are, where you are in life. There was three really important things that I feel that you mentioned in retelling that, that's sharing that story with us. The first is what I would do if I was an artist. So then you had to step into that first, right? You had to do a lot of inner work. And
Hmm.
that's first and foremost, right? Because I think as first gen, there's a lot of guilt put upon us for so many different things. Like, it's a whole conversation happening, like where we're not allowed to dream, right? That's like, no, but
Hmm.
for what? Like, it's work, 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 and getting out of that mentality. Accepting you are an artist, you are a creative person, and then accepting like, well, this is, you know, not what how I want to live. Like, I want to be authentic. And then number three is being at a place, whatever inner work you did, it allowed you, and maybe it has part to do maybe how some of us are born with certain capacities, right, to be patient and open and stuff. And it seems like you're that type of person, to be like, they were hella religious, but the positive of that was this, and I'm going to take this. And as my friend before on another episode, as first gen, she mentioned that people call us, they think of us as lost, neither, yeah, right, like we're
Hmm.
lost. But she reframed it in a great way. There were bridges,
Hmm.
right? And translators and connectors. And you were like, yo, I am at a place, where I can be like, well, they did this, but they gave me this as a foundation. I'm going to take it and remix it. We are the remix, she said. And I love that. We are the remix,
I
right?
love that.
We're the
Yeah.
remix. We're the bridges and the remix. Could we understand this? We could take this, da 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 da. And I love that you've done. I know it wasn't easy, Chaco. I know it wasn't easy. So I appreciate you sharing that. So I've met you through the Web3 space.
Hmm.
You are the very first NFT I ever bought in life. So you're always going to be special to me. I got my first wallet because of you. Da 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 da. So photography is how I knew you first, as a creative, but as a photographer.
Hmm.
How far back did that start? Were you always taking pictures? What was the route there? Like, oh shit, I'm a photographer. That's my thing.
Um, you know what? I always wished that I was a photographer. I was like I
Mm.
knew people who took good photos, and I was like, damn. And I would try to take photos, and I always thought like these photos are not good. Yeah. So in the pandemic, actually, I came upon this like antique film camera, and I was like, well, let me learn how to do film photography. And so I started to like study it, take photos, and I found that whole process to be really fun. I think like with digital photography, for me at least, what was lacking was a process because
Mm,
you can have it manual and just push a button and connect it to your computer and there you go. As opposed to like a film camera where you have to learn about the different types of film, how that ISO impacts the settings, excuse me, the f-stop, the aperture, range of focus, if you're gonna have a flash, what kind of shutter speed, all of those processes. And even when you're done, like you have to be really careful when, at least on my, because it's an antique camera,
yeah.
when you roll up the
Oh, see.
film
Yeah.
and dropping it off, and then you get the email with the digitals, and I print every picture I take. And so getting the prints, having physical albums, like all of that was just so much fun for me. And it took me a little bit of time, but I figured out how to take decent photos. And then I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with them. And as I started to learn about like Web3 and learning about the different types of art and artists, I felt like there was something missing. And that's where, for me, I felt like I could fill in the gap there, where a part of it was wanting to bring my community into the metaverse. And
Mm-hmm.
people don't care too much, like in the art community. Some spaces are getting to more, like Super Chief Gallery, they're really getting into it, which is really cool. But I was like, these people don't want to go get onto the metaverse, but if we don't put anything on there, the
Yeah.
content is never going to relate to me. That's how I was feeling. I
Right.
couldn't find any art in Web3 that related to me. And so that's where I was like, let's do it. I'm going to start just making NFTs where I'm going to put literal pictures of people in my community onto the blockchain. And as a narrative arc, I have this character that I created that's the Sad Nopal, 69, and I started putting him in the film photos as a way to tell a story. Like you're talking about, the whole idea behind that is that the Sad Nopal feels like they don't have a home. And so they're
Mm.
traveling, looking for a home. And that's why all the photos are like in different places. And when I travel, I take my camera with me so that I can kind of show like these are different places where the Sad Nopal's going to see like, is this my home? Do I belong here? Um, and and I just kind of fell in love with that whole process. But I've always thought like I wish I could take good photos, and it felt like this camera, as soon as I found it, it was like it unlocked something inside of me. Yeah.
Do you want to support original content that supports diverse voices? Why not support Word to Your Mama? You're listening to it right now. Become a patron. Head over to patreon.com/WTYM. There are 4 patron levels to choose from, including Good Looking Out, I'm Down, Hell Yeah, and Please Believe It. Benefits include patron shoutouts, exclusive patron-only content, and so much more. Head on over to patreon.com/WTYM to take your support to the next level. Gracias.
Many of us have heard of the devastating passing of Hurricane Fiona through Puerto Rico, but not many of us know of ways, or better yet, trustworthy ways to help and contribute to those in need. Fiona a través de los ojos de los niños is an NFT project featuring art made by children of the nonprofit school Flor de Loto in Ponce, Puerto Rico. Through their drawings, they've expressed their feelings and fears which they went through the hurricane. You can help these children, their school, families, and communities by minting one of their NFTs at helppr.xyz. You can also help by sending crypto directly to their wallet listed on the website, or do a donation through PayPal. The links can be found in the description. And to learn more about this initiative and how you can help, please visit helppr.xyz or via Twitter at helpprflm.
it makes sense now that you shared some of your story that, it was like an old school camera. Like I have an old Pentax. That's how when I thought I was going to be a photographer. For me, it was opposite. It was too much of a process because I was like also developing in the f-stop. I was like, I just want to shoot. I just want to shoot. Like I love the shooting and framing and, that. And so the process was too much for me, but it makes sense that like, you're the bridge, you're the remix. So it's like taking something old school and using that, putting on something with the new, you're remixing it, right? And you're the bridge between, and I love that. And, one of the reasons I remember you were on a Twitter space, and because I heard you on that Twitter space was the reason why I immediately went to buy. And I think I was DMing you. I was like, how do you do? Because it was on Tezos. And because I was like, I want to enter this world, but I don't know if I would be where I'm at if I'm thinking about it now, if it wasn't for you, because you were on that space talking about why you're on Tezos. It was less impact on the environment, right? On that chain. And then you talked about your process and what it was. And when I looked at it, it was one of the ones that you shot in Mexico. In Mexico, it was one of the pyramids. And then with, the sad nopal on it. And I was like, hell yeah, that makes sense to me. I can relate to that. The price is right. It's supporting you that I just met. I heard your story. You work in DEI. Like it all aligned on so many levels. I was like, yeah, I want to do this. So that's how I entered. So you're the first one. I have it. It's my, one of my favorites. It aligns on so many things. So now let's get into, and we learn more from these sections coming up. The questions and comments from the audience. So this person wants to know how you keep your hair so thick and luxurious. Do you spread mayo on it? Do you know who this is before I say who it is?
No.
This is from because of you, one of my new obsessions. This is from Triple Lex.
Oh my gosh.
The model extraordinaire. He probably does other things, but I just see him as a model. Yo soy un modelo. Lex Orozco Cabral. Yeah. So because of you, you took these amazing photos, him on the cross thing, and I was like, who is this? Like this androgyny energy. Like, what is this? I need more. So then I started following him, and I was just like, I am obsessed. And I think I told you, I was like, I'm obsessed. And then he doesn't know me. I'm like, he's probably like, who the fuck is this bitch? I'm like, harding shit, like say, hell yeah, da-da-da. And then, I was like, what does he remind me of? Like, why am I so like drawn to him? OMAHYRA, legendary model. I was like, they're giving me the same energy, right? And so I was like, if they ever do something together, my head would explode because it would be too much for me. So anyways, Lex wants to know, how do you get it so luxurious? Do you put mayonnaise on it? What's the deal?
Well, first of all, shout out to Lex. Yes. He's an amazing model and also stylist, costume designer. So that's where definitely all the swag comes from. And I'm so grateful for him. We do a lot of really cool collabs. We kind of like just get together and start brainstorming ideas, which is really fun, and then go out and see how we can make them happen. And in terms of my hair, honestly, I don't do anything. But I wash it only once a week, so I don't know if what kind of impact that has, but I've just always had like really thick hair, and it's definitely a part of my genes. And I was washing it like every day, because when you have short hair, or for me, that's just what I was taught, like wash my hair, every day. And as it started getting longer, I started asking people, and specifically women, more questions like, how do you take care of your hair? And like, I never used conditioner before, like I used the like 3-in-1, like
I was gonna say like Pert Plus or whatever.
yeah, like the for men.
Yeah.
Like it's shampoo, it's conditioner, it's body wash.
It's body wash.
So it was definitely like a little bit of a journey just to learn like how I can take care of my hair and like not have it be super dry, and I braid it too all the time as a way of kind of containing it. I don't know physically how that helps, but spiritually and mentally, I feel like
Yeah.
the impact of spending that time braiding my hair. And I also like to do four braids, and I identify as a detribalized indigenous person. And so as I've like studied and learned more from books and friends around different types of Native American spirituality, philosophy, I really like the medicine wheel, and that's
Mm.
been like a huge influence for me. Even in my art early on, like almost everything had like some kind of medicine wheel vibe to it, whether it was like explicit or not. And
Yeah.
so I really enjoy also doing like the four braids. And I think about, I don't know if you could see it, but like from the
Say.
top of my head, it should be like a medicine wheel, like the lines. At least that's what
Oh,
I
say.
imagine
Got it. Got it.
that it looks like.
That's amazing. So, are you? Do you and what do you, do they? Is it Lex?
Hmm.
Like, what do you? Okay, Lex. Are you guys? What do you guys have anything in the works? Anything you can discuss that that collabos that you guys are doing?
We did. We just did a photo shoot for Nike. And so,
What?
yeah, those photos were
Felicidades.
so fire. Thank you. But we're waiting on them. We sent them to them like maybe 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago to hear before posting them up. I'm really
Yeah,
excited. We did like Boyle Heights slash Sixth Street Bridge.
love that.
Just right now, I love all the different types of content that people are doing on the bridge, and so I wanted to participate in that. And then we have another one that we're like in the works of, and this one is just us. So sometimes,
Yeah,
like there's um, companies who want us to create some sort of content, and then we like to just make art, is the way that we think of it.
of course.
And that one, I don't know. I can't say it because
No,
we're
don't
very
jinx it.
secretive until we
Say,
do it.
I
Because
get
even
it.
like
I get it.
that photo you're talking about, we started planning that one like 6 months before we actually took the photo, which was the concept was like him on the cross, and the cross is the tow truck.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were like very secretive. We were like not telling anybody. We would go out and try to look for tow trucks, and we like couldn't find any. And we're like, but we're gonna keep searching, and we still got to keep it under wraps. And then once we finally got those photos, it was like we were so excited. We put them
Good.
out, and then a couple months ago, we saw that on the same day, two other artists posted up like the same kind of concept. And so, yeah,
Biters.
we're gonna,
Biters.
yeah. So that's where even we were talking, we're like, damn, this is why we sort of keep our artistic ideas until we put them out really like tight. Because it's not easy to come up with concepts and to execute them. And shout out to the other people. Definitely don't want to send any animosity towards anyone. And it looked very similar to what we did, and I'm happy that we got it first.
Coincidence or not? I'm gonna say the writers. No, that's when I was like, who is what is Chaco? This I love this shit. I love your photos already, but I see the progression and like the different styles for different things, right? The different concepts. How you don't just stick to one. I like that too, but it's quality, right? And that's another thing. Like there's chances as creators curating, as creators giving space to other. We're not. I don't want to. I want to help. We all want to help. Pero también we gotta elevate our shit as a people, right? Like
Hmm.
it has to be on par, above and beyond. We always got to be better. Like so, just because you're, BIPOC doesn't mean you're always gonna roll. There's a time and a place for that. But when you're collaborating or you're working with someone, it's got to be level on level. Like, we got to up our shit, you know? It can't be the same shit. Like, you know, elements of that, but elevate it, right? Like, make it paisa, but elevate it. Like, if you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
So anyways,
because even
let's
with
get...
that shirt, really quick, from that
Oh, yes,
shop,
yeah.
it's the Mexican designer named Barbara Sanchez Kane, and their work is like incredible. And so that was a part of the thinking, is like, okay, Barbara sent, this really amazing, beautiful piece and said, will you guys create some art with it, and that was kind of like the basis of the idea, is to continue to elevate the work we're doing and work with people who are, making really beautiful quality art.
Yeah, because you're not trying to be something that you're not, right? Like, it's still authentic, right? It's these concepts being on the cross, but remixing it on the tow truck, and then again, that next element of shooting it in a certain way where it's elevated, right? Like, I love that. So I love that stuff that you guys are doing. Let's get into the not so rapid fire questions, the AKA slow as hell questions. Chaco, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, 3 words to describe yourself.
Entrepreneur, fun, and reflector.
Love that. Reflective. That's a new one. I like that. Reflective. Next one. What's the best piece of advice you've received?
Man, there's a bunch, and the one that comes to mind and that I often share as well is keep your head down. And when I first kind of quit my job when I was 30 and was like, I'm going to be an artist, I'm going to, chase my dreams, be an entrepreneur. I was talking to a mentor of mine, and he was like, all right, well, now it's time to put your head down and get to work. And so, oftentimes whenever I see myself, getting all heady, I'm like, this is not time to think. This is time to put my head down and get to work.
Exactly. I love that. I think those of us that will survive in any time or whatever happens to be, it's those of us that, we show by action, and we keep your head down and keep it moving. And there's moments, I'm a Taurus, where I'm doing stuff and then it enters my brain and I just have to remind, no ego. Like, it's bigger than me. Don't even do it for that fucking reason. Do it because you want to do it and it's bigger than you, and head down. Keep your head down and keep moving, right? Because those that talk about it a lot are usually the ones that aren't doing shit. And like you say, like, let's keep it under wraps. The project you're doing with Lex or anyone else, like, let's keep it under wraps, and then be like, what are you working on? No, I'm working on things. And then boom, shabuya, all up in your face. Look at this shit. I already did this. Like, I love that. It's like, I do by action. Like, I'm not going to don't talk about it, be about it. Next one, Chaco. Song to get you hyped when you need it. What's your go-to? What's your current go-to?
My current go-to is, I would say I've been listening to Fuerza Regida.
Oh my God. I was just, okay. My hands are sweating.
Yeah.
Because I was going to start singing. Baby. Is that him?
Uh-huh.
I don't know why that entered my brain. And then you said, but song is that? The song?
No, the song, that's a good one. That one definitely gets the party going, which I enjoy. But it's a song, ¿cómo se dice? Otra Raya Al Tigre. And that one, it's a collab with another artist I really like named Santa Fe Clan. And
he's going to be in the desert with Snow the Product. I just saw that yesterday.
Oh, really? Ooh,
yeah, at the new Acura. Because I'm not familiar with his work, but I know Snow, right? And I mean, I don't know her, but I know of her. And I was like, who's that? I literally just looked it up. I think it was this morning, because they're going to be here in the desert.
Yeah,
There you go.
yes, I love it. And that song's really fun. It's just in English, it's another stripe on the tiger, you know.
Perfect. So that song, I'm going to add it to our Word to Your Mama guest hype song playlist that I have on Spotify. And it's like about 4 hours. I mean, we got everything. We got from
Oh wow, I
punk
need to check
to,
that
we have
out.
different languages. Yeah, it's like, I have about, this, you're the, I don't know when your episode comes out. So you're like the 126th, 27th episode. So we have about 4 hours of stuff. And it's so interesting because you have hype songs for different occasions, right? For different vibes and different things. And then I have people that are 20 something year old to like 50-year-old. So I got hip hop, I got everything. I got salsa, I got da 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 da.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is the first time I'm going to have something in that vein, or the second time. I'm super excited. So whoever's the latest, I moved their song up to the top of the playlist. So you'll see it at the top. So you'll see like the
Okay.
latest.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll put it. It's always in the show notes. But yes, I'm freaking. My hands are still sweating. I don't know why. It just hit me, and I was like, and then you said I was like, there's no way. I go, why is that even in my head? And then you said, I was like, shut up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that song, I like it like when I'm out. I love it when they play it. Like everybody starts going just crazy and I love it. I have a couple friends that are DJs and so they do like a lot of electronic music, but they're, Mexican and so they'll mix in some of the corridos in there and every time, it's like boom, 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 man. And then everyone's like, I love it.
I love that song. So I started listening to them, and then I went to Rosario recently, and it was my son, the Supernatural Bear's first time. And then I'm not into corridos, but now I am because of my trip. And it was that song, and it was Bad Bunny. It was in all the corridos nonstop. And I must have heard La Boda de well, I can't say it. You know what I'm saying? That one all the time. Whether the band played it, the DJ played it, I don't know. And then I was like, we were like tired of it. But then when we got home, we listen to it all the time now, like just cause. And they play it at all the, quinceañeras, and I love it. And I'm sure everyone's remixing. I would go crazy if I heard it at a club. So that is hilarious. Final question of the not so rapid fire questions, aka slow as hell questions. What will be your legacy?
Um, hmm. This is something that like I have a couple friends that we talk about this and what we want to leave behind and um I think for me that's actually one of the things that really drives my art making is like wanting to have these objects that are telling a story again of a certain specific time and I even that's why I like making art about myself and my family is like you don't you there's a lot of artists I really love and it's like lowriders, and I love lowriders and I didn't grow up around lowriders. I didn't grow up listening to oldies. I didn't all these references that I really love and enjoy and I'm there, at the shows. Cool, but just the story of like again the immigrant or the son, of pastors and that all the different ways like my parents would have like a text thread, and this is when you had to pay for each text message for where the retenes were. And as soon as they learned where the police were stopping people, getting on the phone, sending out text blasts um, to support our community. I grew up going to downtown to load up a truck full of food so we can go back to the neighborhood, and we had a little um, pantry slash what is it called like a I can't remember right now, but having food for the community where people would come once a week and pick up a bag of food, and so wanting to kind of keep that vibe alive that like we're more than just cholos and even though we're not rich like we give wholeheartedly
Yes.
and we don't see ourselves as individuals, we see ourselves as a part of the community, and if somebody's hungry, bringing them in and saying, hey, you can come have dinner with us, there were so many people that lived in our house growing up, you know, and as a kid and as a teenager, I I I didn't like it, you know. I was kind of like,
Of
oh, because I
course.
never had a bedroom. It was like as soon as somebody came and they needed a place to stay, it was like I was back on the couch, you know, and so that this person or people could have a place to stay. And that's what I want, kind of like my legacy and um, the story to be that we love each other, we're here to support each other, and um, you know, we don't let each other go hungry or sleep on, you know, without a roof over our heads, and that type of compassion and I don't know if loyalty is the right word, but loyalty like to the community and to be of service to for all of us to have a better life
Yeah.
is I think where I would hope to land.
Well, you're already doing that. You're putting people on, you're holding space and also providing space on different levels with all your different work. I feel like, you yourself are your own little ecosystem where, the DEI work, the art, the fashion, the photography, the other artwork as a curator, you are taking what I, from the outside looking in, the basic foundation of being of service and putting that into all the things that you're into. So it hopefully doesn't seem like work. Like it's work, but it's not work. Like, the mission's bigger than us. I always say that now all the time, especially on here. And it's that of service in the community. And I think with all of us, as many of us thinking in that way, and also that it doesn't change when you get big, because when you get big, you got that money, you got the power, decision making. That's when we can make the real change. And I feel like all of us that are on this show have that in common. So muchísimas gracias for everything that you've done, that you're going to do in the future. What are you working on? Tell the folks anything you want them to know, and also también how they can reach you.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at this is Chaco 69, and that's the best kind of place to see everything that I'm up to. This will be out probably by the time our first film screening happens, which is going to be this Saturday, April 8th. The
Sí, happy
films
after.
are, oh my gosh, so amazing. Like, even if you don't have a chance to be there because you're learning about this now, whenever this comes out, um, check out on my Instagram, look at Oscuro, the post, and just look at the artists, the filmmakers that are tagged on there. Such beautiful stories, so moving. I'm super excited to have a kind of community movie night where we can see our films on a big screen. There's going to be a second screening on May 13th.
Oh,
One of the
perfect.
films will be a repeat, and then the rest will be new ones. So that'll be an opportunity to connect again. And then right now, I'm in the works of getting a gallery with a friend of mine, and so be on the
What?
lookout for. We're working on the name and all that stuff, but
Nice.
that's going to be a kind of community space where we'll do community pop-ups, which is what I've been doing for the past year and a half. And so if you're an artist who's interested in showing, please reach out. For me, it's a goal to have artists that have never shown before at
Mm.
these community pop-ups. And so if you've never shown before and you're not sure, but you make art, please reach out to me, hit me up on Instagram. I'd love to have you be a part of one of our shows. And also, if you're interested in throwing a show yourself and are looking for a space, please hit me up. That's another way that we support the community is by working with people to offer a space that hopefully is accessible and inclusive, and we try to make it equitable as well and not have it cost like an arm and a leg to rent
Yeah.
out a space. And sometimes we also sponsor events, so just like reach out without any hesitation around that. And a couple, I also have my brand, and so you can find that on Chacult, XACULT on Instagram, and I have little bag, my little sad nopal bag.
Yes.
I'm making some right now. I also have like a couple other really cool drops that are going to be happening this month. I have this vest that I'm working on right now. Um,
Love that.
and so I try to, stay busy, but you can find everything on my Instagram.
And we'll have everything that has been discussed in this episode in the show notes. That I wanted to mention before, the movie, it was, I forget the name of the artist, but it was Lex was like the star, and you'd filmed the little short where he's like his day in a life. Love that.
Mm-hmm.
I think you guys are a great combo. Like, I hope you guys stay in good spirits and good ties together, because I like the stuff that you guys are putting out together. So love that. I go, who shot that? I was like, Chaco, that's dope. Like, the day in the life, and it's these like, when I tell you I'm obsessed, Lex, if you're listening, I'm obsessed with you. Obsessed.
Well, we need to get
So,
him on here.
oh my God, I would freak the fuck out. It's too much. So he's a style. We could talk offline. He's a stylist. That makes all the sense. Cause like, he's like with the dope clothes and the da-da-da. I don't know what he did. Dope. Amazing. So muchísimas gracias, Chaco. This has been a pleasure. Un placer. And yes, all the links, like, let's get it out there to, felicidades on getting the space. Please keep me informed.
Yes.
We could share that and spread that out. This is the name of the space. This is all the shows, blah, 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 blah. I'm excited now that, shit's opened up for me and the way we live. And I've been going more to LA. Hopefully I can make it when is the May thing? When
May
is the
13th.
May thing? Because I'm going to be, maybe. Because I'm doing I'm talking at an event there, so maybe.
Yeah,
so, but I'm excited to finally go to. Thank you. I'm excited to maybe go to, finally make it to one of your shows. So yeah, muchísimas gracias for your time. I know it was a shaky start because mama brain and stuff, and the supernatural bear sick. So I apologize profusely, but let me apologize here in the Publix. And but thank you so much for the patience and your time. And excited to see, what Chaco does.
Yeah, thank you. It's an honor to be here with you. And I knew that the right time would come for us to do this. And please, please, please come to the shows. They're not like any other art show that you've ever been to. The community there is amazing. Some people message me and say, when are you doing an art party again? Because it doesn't even feel like an art show in the traditional sense. So please come out and check it out this summer. It's a great community.
I'm excited because everything is cyclical, right? And when I first stepped into being an artist, I was like, I'm not an artist. And then I was doing photography, blah, blah, blah. Back in the days, this was downtown Crew West was started in Alhambra, and then it was downtown Winston, I believe. And that's how it was. It was our people. It was, different levels of stuff. I mean, Man One, I've had him on here. I mean, if it wasn't for him, I would have never started my art career and shifted in such a way. I mean, he was a catalyst for so many things. But seeing the IG stories and the photos and everything of the stuff that you go to, and now that I'm like, venturing out into your web, your network of people, that's the vibe. And that's why I want to go experience that again. Cause I was like, oh, they're bringing it back. Cause he couldn't sustain it. It's a lot of work. You understand, curating shit, you're an artist, but still dealing with artists sucks. And then like, there's not a lot of money. So how do you sustain this in this new environment, post-COVID, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But when you make it that, like, people are like, yo, representation, the right vibe, you can't fake that shit.
Mm-mm.
You can't fake it.
Mm-mm.
So people are starving for it. Cause I was like, oh, we don't have that anymore. But it used to be a thing, shut down the street, the big ass gallery, black and brown, all the color people. Like, you know what I'm saying? We had the graph, we had the high end, we had the da-da-da all mixed together. It's a recipe for amazingness.
Mm-hmm.
So you're bringing it back.
Yeah.
It's back.
Yeah.
It's been back. You brought it back. So I'm excited to, to experience that again. So yeah, muchísimas gracias. Okay. Finally, for reals, I'm leaving.
Thank you, Ritzy.
I keep thinking of shit.
You so much.
Thank you so much.
And now introducing the Supernatural Bear Corner.
Supernatural Bear. Burp.
Hello, everyone. It is I, Supernatural Bear. And today, instead of my normal chit-chat, I am actually going to present a small work-in-progress song that I've been working on for around 3 weeks now, I'd say. Called Peace Through Tyranny. It's for a musical episode of my Transformer series. And, no lines have been recorded for it yet, due to the fact that the actor who's going to play that hasn't recorded them yet. So, yeah, the OST is done though, so, yeah, enjoy.
Shooby doos. Yeah. There you have it, folks. Episode 133, Word to Your Mama with Chaco. Great episode. And yes, I am obsessed with Lex. And when you see the pictures of Lex and the pictures of OMAHYRA, like you're going to see, it's giving off the same energy. The same energy. Okay, so muchísimas gracias for listening, supporting. We are on the road journey to get this out to as many people as possible. So I have dope people on here, right? Diverse voices, but dope diverse voices. Let's get that straight. Yeah, so there's a lot coming this year. And I'm also trying to get better with showing my face. You know, they're like, if you want to grow it, you got to show your face because they got to want to support you and blah, blah, blah. I'm trying. I just keep thinking, okay, let me see what I can do. How can I do where I'm authentic and I feel secure? Because I'm posting more videos, if you notice, but it's videos of us doing the convos. So I'm in my element. I don't know. I'm not paying attention to the camera. I'm just moving and grooving, you know, being animated, making the weird faces, moving my hands, my eyes going all different types of ways, cockeyed and whatever, right? But it's authentic. My voice is authentic. What I say is authentic. Like I can watch and be like, I can see that. That's entertaining. That's kind of funny. I'm kind of funny sometimes. I'd laugh. You know what I'm saying? But then when I put the camera on myself, my phone or something else, and I purposely point it to me because I gotta create content. That's not my seat. For those that do that, kudos to you. I'm not there yet. I don't know if I'll ever be there yet. So I'm trying to figure out my way. So anyways, the whole goal is to get this out to as many people as possible. So you know the deal. You know how to support, leave a review. That's free. Because, you know, for me, if it's free, it's me. You could also, you know, buy something from the store. You could also buy us a whiskey buy us a coffee. You could become a patron via Patreon. I mean, there's so many different ways. But another free way is tell your folks, tell your peeps, and tell your friends. Okay. As always, we reap. Word to Your Mama is owned and produced by Ritzy P. Intro beat produced by Nico Beats. If you want to know more, you want to email us, you want to get the media kit, go head over to wordtoyourmama.com. Word to Your Mama is now part of the Latina Podcasters Network. And as always, Word to Your Mama is brought to you by ritzyperiwinkle.com. Make sure to follow Word to Your Mama on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you stream your podcast, or download the Latina Podcasters Network app.